All right, how we doing? We all good, yeah? Just want to talk about Henry Cejudo a little bit. He's a bit of a clown, isn't he? He was having that back and forth with Conor McGregor, wasn't he? You know, he's all fat and he's out of shape. You know that video when he was hyping up to Sean O'Malley? You know, trying to act like he's going to jump on anyone who's got attention, you know, trying to always insert himself in the conversation.
Didn't see that.
You want to match him and he's right here. I'd love a tune-up. What do you say, Pressure?
Serious?
What do you say?
Are you you're good to go now,
Yeah,
huh?
I'm good to go.
Say it.
When would you want to bend the knee at what time? Because I think you absolutely suck.
What do you weigh?
Go ahead, carry on with the interview. Go ahead, carry on.
That guy's cringy. No one takes that dude serious.
You know, but he flopped his retirement, didn't he? You know, he retired and then like 3 minutes later, he was like, you know, if you pay me, I'll come back right now. You know, he didn't garner any interest. He thought he had loads of interest, but no one cared. No one actually gave a fuck about him. His coach as well, you know, his coach with the fucking stupid glasses. His coach is so desperate for attention, isn't he? He was some like wrestler back in the days. Yeah, that's what Wikipedia says anyway. Because no one would know who he is if he wasn't with Henry Cejudo, who's, you know, begging for the attention and fame, you know. Attention is the currency these days, but you know, even bad attention is good. But you know, when you have the kind of attention that makes people sick, it's not going to translate to the dollar bills, is it? This guy, Eric, yeah, he was on Joe Rogan's podcast, you know, with Henry Cejudo, and he had a mask on for like an hour because he was trying to, like, I don't know, get people to talk about him or something. But no one cares, man. No one cares about who you are, you know. That's why we like people like Trevor Whitman. You know, like Trevor Whitman or Faraz Zahabi. They do interviews and they stick to the point, or they care about their fighter, don't they? They're not trying to get famous. You know, like Diego Sanchez, when he had that coach, that guy who was like the fucking school of mind and thought, you know, and he was having that, he interrupted Matt Serra's breakfast, didn't he?
And it was brought up in the interview, and they're telling you, and they're asking you about me, and you're able to see my name, you know that they're talking about me, you're actually saying on a camera, like you're disdained with me so much you can't even say my name, bro. Like, dude, that's kind of cold. Like, I told you already, I don't know your name. Okay. What's your name again? Joshua. Joshua, okay, good. Dude, yeah, screw this something around it. I understand. Okay. Listen. You can see how that right there is like a little, like... You know why? You know what? I don't give a fuck. I'm with my friends having breakfast. You trying to come over here and make some kind of grandstand about... You're bringing me up about... No, listen, bro. Okay. You want to talk? I'll talk. You're bringing up Michael Pereira. I think the guy's a stud. Who? You're... Piera? Yeah, Pereira. Don't... You're going to fix my fucking pronounce shit? No. Oh, yeah. I'm just in here. And then you're bringing up... Oh, man, it's amazing how people don't bring up how Diego... You know, look at his fight with him. I thought that fight was shit. You know what? It was phenomenal. His fight with Carol Parisian. Absolutely. Fucking phenomenal. Absolutely. I like that's the Diego I think's a fucking beast. So Diego has my full respect. So before this is not going to get any better. I just do your thing. Good luck with you. I hope you make some money off Diego. Do what you got to do. And that's it, bro. Okay? When I listen, not my type of guy. Do your thing.
And Matt Serra just basically told him to fuck off, you know, because he was like, you're fucking trying to get some money out of Diego. You don't know what the fuck you're doing. You're so desperate for attention. Just get the fuck out of my face. You know, that's what someone needs to do, this Captain Eric guy. You know, Ariel. You know, Ariel's, he always acts like he doesn't want to hold a grudge, does he? But you know, when Eric was like, you didn't vote me for coach of the year. You know, this Eric guy, he's like 50 years old, you know, or he's like going to be 50. And he's acting like a little kid. I didn't get coach of the year, I'm not going to come on your show. It's like, it's an award from Ariel Helwani, man. Like, why are you so bothered? Why are you so sensitive about, it's not even a trophy. You're not even going to get a trophy about Ariel on his little show giving you an award. It's a load of crap, man. That's how sensitive these coaches and fighters are, some of them. Do you know what I mean? It's like Waleed Ismail. That guy with the weird face? He's got a weird face, man, hasn't he? He's all aggressive all the time. He's like overly aggressive for no reason. And he just talks so much shit. He doesn't even translate for his fighter, does he? He just says whatever he thinks is a good thing to say, to try and get in the spotlight. And, oh shit, Ishmael's fucking the guy, this and that. He loves it, And he runs that jungle fight league in Brazil. He's probably cutting a nice check, isn't he, from the UFC? Because his jungle fight promotion sort of acts as like a filter to get these guys into the UFC. But he's got steroids in that league, hasn't he? Like Paulo Costa, the overinflated balloon animal. Have you seen that guy? More plates, more dates. Have you ever heard of him? This guy, Derek. He's got a couple of good breakdowns, And he's got this breakdown about Paulo Costa where he talks about Waleed Ismail and his fucking promotion where he's just feeding these bums, to like pump up his own guys who are on steroids. And, as Brendan Schaub always says, the fucking acai. Waleed Ismail, if him and Steven Espinoza had a love child, it would look pretty fucked up, wouldn't it? Espinoza's a weird guy, isn't he? Espinoza, he just lives on Twitter, doesn't he? And he's always bitter all the time. He's always like liking tweets that shit on other people, like Eddie Hearn. I'm not saying Eddie Hearn's like a saint, is he? He's acting a bit bitter lately, because Fury's kind of getting the credit for being the best. And Fury's a mess right now, isn't he? Every day he's so desperate for attention. When Floyd was doing it, it was quite fun. Floyd would sort of take a jab at Dana or Conor or whoever, because it was fun. Or Canelo. Fury's just getting irritating, isn't he? But Espinoza, he sort of, when Jake Paul's fight got cancelled, he stood by him. He started saying, it's all Rahman's fault. It's not Paul at all, Our ticket sales were really good. Our ticket sales were fucking amazing for Jake Paul versus Hasim Rahman JR on 3 weeks' notice. Jake Paul, he said he destroyed Rahman in sparring, and he released a video, didn't he? And he said that Rahman was 230 pounds in that video. And that was his camp when he was fighting Nate Robinson. So if Rahman could only make 215 for the fight, and Jake Paul is 2 years better than he was in that video where he supposedly smashed him up, why wouldn't he still take the fight? You know what I mean? They tried to catch him off guard and come up with all these clauses, but why don't they just take the fight then? If they're already saying they're trying to smash him up. Luke Thomas, he's on Morning Combat, isn't he? With Brian Campbell. That's a good show they got, I'm a big fan of that show, actually. When Luke Thomas was fucking drunk out of his mind like a month ago, and he was embarrassing himself, and he was just acting like, Luke Thomas, he's a good guy. I've been following him for a while, but he's in his 40s and he can't handle his alcohol, can he? And then he started saying, he's every week, Luke Thomas says, I'm going to always keep it real. I'm going to say exactly what I feel. And I would never take in this Showtime CBS check if I couldn't speak my mind. But I totally blame Hasim Rahman here. And it's just like, all right, mate, come on. If Espinoza wasn't writing those checks, he wouldn't say that, would he? He wouldn't. But I would do the same thing. If Espinoza was writing me checks just to defend Jake Paul, I'd start wearing those orange joggers. Jalen Love. That guy that was starting on Tyron Woodley during the Ben Askren hand wrap, and Woodley had to go into Paul's locker room, and Jalen Love's sort of saying, I know how to do this. I'm a big boxer. I do this. No one even knows who the hell he is. The fact that the only reason he got his name out there is because he started on a UFC champion, and he happened to be like Jake Paul's cheerleader. Imagine having like more than 20 fights in boxing, but the only reason you're even known is because you're like holding pom-poms for Jake Paul. It's not good, is it? But yeah, Luke Thomas, he's starting to act like that Daniel Shilly Cormier, isn't he? Shilly Cormier. Cormier is never ever gonna shit on the UFC, is he? But he gets really sensitive, when fighters start tweeting at him, because he's pushing his own agenda, and he wants to get his teammates the best opportunities, and he's doing it in front of everyone's face. And like Dominic Cruz said, he doesn't even do his own research, and he pays a researcher to sort of do his work for him. So he's not really worthy of the job, but because he's such a good mouthpiece to defend the UFCs, and he's got that show, hasn't he, DC and RC. Ryan Clark, I actually really liked watching him on First Take, when he was discussing NFL, because he actually had good knowledge, but he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. So he's just following Cormier, and he's just got this opportunity because he can follow Cormier, who's a company guy. And RC's trying to insert himself in there because it's better for media, isn't it? A lot of people care about UFC right now. It's buzzing, isn't it? And RC's trying to say, I'm the jack of all trades. I know about NFL. I know about MMA. I know about the UFC. I know about boxing, this and that. So, do we believe him? I don't. But, Dana, he's got DC in his pocket, hasn't he? And it's a good place to be, man. If I was making 6 figures a year to let Dana put his hand up my ass and control me, I would fully be on board with that, that maximum load size meme of Dana? That'd be me, But we got to expose them. We got to expose these guys. We got to keep it real on here. These people, some of them, they're desperate for attention, aren't they? Like Clarissa Shields. She's fucking annoying, man, isn't she? She's trying to pipe up all the time, but she's annoying. No one cares about her fights, she's got that annoying, screechy kind of voice. That kind of voice that you think, oof, I feel sorry for the guy who's got to fuck that. She's always playing the race card as well, isn't she? Saying, oh, I'm black, I don't get the credit, this and that. That's just fucking tiring, isn't it? It's draining, man. When someone starts doing that. Did you see the other day when Dwayne Wade, I don't know if you know Dwayne Wade is, he's an NBA player, used to be. And he teamed up with LeBron James and Chris Bosh in Miami. And that was like the first super team kind of established. It kind of created a new era anyway. Dwayne Wade was saying, we got so much criticism just because we were black. everyone's just like, mate, what are you talking about, man? You got criticism because you brought 3 of the best players together and created a super team that made things unfair. But sometimes, you know, you get these people who like to play the race card just because they think, you know, it's a good thing to say, or I'm standing up for my people, you know, but it's not always the agenda to push, is it? It gets tiring, man, you know, and it devalues when it's actually the right agenda to push, doesn't it? Anyway, let's not get political. Clarissa Shields, as annoying as she is, she started talking about Jake Paul. Do you remember in that press conference? Someone asked her, I think, he said, would you ever fight on a Jake Paul card? And she said, don't ever mention that guy and me in the same sentence. You know, I've achieved like 1 million more things than he's ever going to achieve in boxing.
Boxing. I would never fight on an undercard of Jake Paul. And I don't know what Amanda Serrano purse was. I think it was like $75,000, $100,000. I would never fight another boxing match for that much money because I'm worth so much more. I'm $1 million fighter. And before I get on the undercard of a guy that's having a circus show, you know, like, no disrespect to Tyron Woodley, no disrespect to Jake Paul, but I'm a real boxer. Like, I can beat up Jake Paul.
You know, trying to say that he's garbage, right? I'd never fight on his card. If anything, he should beg to fight on my card. But then Jake Paul exposed her, didn't he? He basically said, you know, Clarissa, do you remember when you called me? You know, when your manager called me last week saying, hi, you want to be on my... Can I be on your card, please? You know, when he was going to fight Woodley. So she's saying one thing and she's doing another, isn't she? Because she knows she's not really garnering interest. She's trying to act like she is, you know. She's sort of saying, oh, I'm the greatest, you know. But, you know, being the greatest, it's about being known, isn't it? And no one's ever said that this person, no one's ever said that someone's the greatest when no one knows them. It's about publicity, isn't it? And how much you get people to care. Then it makes the greatest stage better, doesn't it? No one gave a fuck about Demetrius Johnson, did they? No one was watching his fights. No one found it interesting, but actually what he achieved was quite good. But even Demetrius wasn't going around saying, I'm the fucking best, I'm the man. You know, because no one was talking about him like that. But Clarissa thinks people are, or she's trying to just beg for people to do that, but no one really gives a shit. So, yeah, I hope she gets knocked out, man. That would be pretty good to see, you know. They wanted to do Clarissa Shields versus Kayla Harrison, you know, in PFL. You know, like Clarissa Shields, she knew she's not getting any fucking attention in boxing, man. So she had to come to MMA, you know, because MMA it's getting more attention. You know, like the undercards, they get more eyes, you know, than boxing undercards because they're all garbage, aren't they? They're all just one-sided, minus 1,200 favorites fighting some bum. You know, like KSI is doing. But yeah, Kayla, she's annoying, isn't it? She's annoying as fuck, man. She wants to be Ronda Rousey so badly, doesn't she? You know, like Ronda, she won a bronze medal, didn't she? And Kayla's won 2 gold medals. So imagine if you saw someone in your team who only won a bronze and you won 2 gold medals. And you're trying to even be like her, you know, like be a massive bitch and shit on Cyborg and say she's this and I can smash her up. And, you know, like, oh, I'm fucking up everyone, you know, I'm the Mike Tyson of MMA, beating up all these bums in PFL. But nobody even gives the slightest ounce of shit, do they? No one's watching her fight, man. Like, you know, Ariel keeps pushing her on his show. He has her on like every 2 weeks. Because she's the only person under Ali Abdelaziz who is gonna come on the show, you know, because he's got them all under control, you know, because he's in Dana's pocket. Kayla, she's got no one supporting her. So if you get in tight with Ariel, it's gonna get some people. It's got that exposure, hasn't it? some people are going to get interested in her fights, and Ariel's going to keep pushing her fights, saying, I think you versus Cyborg is massive. But really, Cyborg's the A side every time. Like, what's Kayla Harrison ever achieved? Like, being the PFL champion's nice, yeah? But it's not an elite league, is it? A lot of female divisions are a bit dead. Like the 115 division is wicked, but if you look at Shevchenko's division, there's nothing there, is it? And look at Nunes, she just beat Pena, didn't she? And it's like, Pena was the champion, man. It's not really that deep. So imagine how much worse Kayla Harrison's division is. So for Ariel to act like, this is the fight we're all wanting, two worlds colliding, this and that, it's just like, stop it, man. Stop it. You know what I mean? Stop having your favorites, man. Just fucking be a journalist, innit? And stay in it. And report the news, mate. If Kayla Harrison's fighting, report the fucking news, man. Don't try and act like she's the number one fucking star, females MMA. That's why Cyborg had the best response. Ariel was trying to say, what about Kayla? They were trying to talk to you, this and that. But Cyborg was like, mate, I've fought the best women in the whole world. Kayla hasn't fought no one, so I'm good without it, to be honest. And Ariel was trying to imply, are you scared, Kayla, like, do you think she's ducking? And she's like, yeah, maybe, Cyborg, when she knows what she's achieved, and Kayla's so desperate, to get some credibility because everyone's shitting on her, aren't they? All the fans. I'll tell you what. Jake Paul, right? When his fight got cancelled, he had such a prime opportunity to maximize his sales and win over everyone. All he needed to do was to make a call to Anderson Silva. They had like a week. I think they had a week, when Rahman dropped out. That was his chance to call Anderson Silva and say, yo, MSG, we're going to plug you in. The card stays alive. You can save the day. Anderson's going to sell more tickets. He's got the fan base. And he's also got that name that everyone thinks Paul is scared of to fight. Do you know what I mean? And even if they talk about him being old, it's like, man, I just fucking knocked out Tyron Woodley and Anderson Silva. That's pretty spicy, isn't it? That would have given him a good push. He would have already made it way further than like talking about Tommy Fury or Rahman Jr., by knocking out Anderson. Because, Anderson just beat Julio Cesar Chavez's son, didn't he? Obviously, he slapped up Tito Ortiz as well, but that's not really impressive. But, like Anderson, he's a proper martial artist, isn't he? So, at UFC 200, when they had a fallout, didn't they? When Jones, he tested positive, and they had to plug in Anderson on short notice, on like 3 days' notice. And it was meant to be Gegard Mousasi, but Anderson sells more tickets, doesn't he? It would have sold nicely, if he did that. Now he's just got stage 5 clinger Hasim Rahman tweeting about him every 5 minutes, because Rahman knows he fucking fumbled it as well himself, He could have done the hydration fucking technique. Every week he knew he was getting a weigh-in check. But he didn't think to dehydrate on the fucking weigh-in day because he didn't care, man. He's not dedicated. His dad outed him, didn't he? Hasim Rahman Sr., he fucking outed him at the press conference. He goes, mate, my son's never focused. He's a fucking waste of time, didn't he? Like KSI, KSI's got a new opponent, hasn't he? This KSI guy, man, I just don't really get the appeal. What do you people like about this guy? I don't get it. I must have watched him for like 5 minutes in total in my life. Because I've just seen like 5 seconds of an interview here, 5 seconds of a video there. And it just sounds all artificial, his reactions to everything is just like over the top and overselling of laughter, and he doesn't actually say anything that has any content or add anything. But he's fighting this new guy, Swarmzy. This guy's face cracks me up, man. I fucking love this guy's face, man. Look at his face, man. It just fucking cracks me up. Swarmzy, man. Tell my man, shut up. It's fucking funny, man. And you know, because he announced he was fighting Swarmzy, and no one cared. Everyone's like, mate, you're cracked. Like, no one cares about this fucking fight against this fucking Swarmzy guy who no one knows, with this funny face. You know what I mean? With this fucking, he's stoned out of his mind, isn't he? He's fucking baked, man. And he's added some Blagoy Ivanov fucking guy. I don't know what his name is. That's some UFC fighter, but he's added him to the mix, you know, so he can say, oh, I fought 2 people in one night. One of them was a real boxer, and the other one was fucking Swarmzy, mate. But this is why these guys, you know, like KSI, he should be the opening bout of the night. You know, like KSI, he should jump on this Anthony Joshua card instead. It's through the zone, isn't it? And he should be the opening fight of the night. You know, because when you have this low-level bullshit as the main event, they're trying to scramble to find the right opponent because it's still politics at the end of the day. They want to be able to get the win. You know, they don't want to put themselves in too much of a high-risk position. And they still want it to sound interesting, you know? And I don't even know who this Wassabi guy was, but apparently that was more interesting than Swarmzy's face, man. I'm not gonna lie, man. I fucking want Swarmzy to do the business, you know. I want him to do the job on KSI, man. That would just put a nice spanner in the works, you know. This Swarmzy guy, whoever he is, he was probably just smoking like 20 fat J's. And then he got the call and he was just like, yeah, I'm down. And he don't even know what he's signing up for. You know what I mean? He was probably on the bus, man, going fucking to work at Argos or something. And he's just fucking, now he's in a big fight, man. But yeah, he's going to go from being the backup dancer to the 7-figure gibber, isn't he? You know the 7-figure gibber? You know that fat Iranian guy who fought Jake Paul? And they said he was button mashing. You know when you're button mashing and you keep crouching, the only button you know is the fucking crouch button. That was funny, man. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. Subscribe for more.